It's so good. It's so good, man. Something about cons are just like magical, like moments like that happening.
Yeah. San Diego Comic-Con is definitely one of those bucket list events, bucket list cons that like
For me too. For me as well.
very hot. The temperature of the summer is not forgiving, especially that in San Diego since you have a teeny bit of humidity. But yeah, some of the cosplays have just been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
This
Yes, there were some
year
really good ones.
was neither of us were there, obviously.
Yeah, neither of us have ever gone to San
We
Diego.
were
Like
just
both
yeah,
really
we were
wanted to.
getting to live vicariously through everyone's posts, everyone's live streams, which is kind of how I feel about Star Wars Celebration once it comes around. I'm just gonna be like kind of just watching and sort of hearing everything with bated breath. But yeah, we got a lot of confirmations, a lot of Marvel, not necessarily again announcements, but like we got to see a lot of actors. There's a lot of actor to fan interaction, which I think
Which I
also is
love.
kind of breaks down what the heart of Comic Con really breaks down to is fans getting to interact with each other and also getting to interact with like the people who put their shows and their favorite medias together.
Right. Right, exactly. Getting to actually like interact with the community surrounding these things and seeing them as more than just like products, but like productions that a whole team of people worked really hard on and are excited about. Like when you get to meet and interact with those people, it makes the experience of like watching a film way more like, I don't know, rewarding when you have a personal connection to it in that way. Yeah, how's it going, everybody? I'm glad you're all here to join us. We're going to be doing as much of a recap as we can of San Diego Comic-Con, of all the things that we know about. Obviously, we weren't there, so we're not going to be talking about everything, but these are the things that we've been told about. And happy birthday to Nathan Troxel. How you doing? Many happy returns, as they say in the olden days. That means the same thing as happy birthday. I hope you've had a good one. And what a way to end it, right? With the Dork Forces podcast, number
Well,
7.
starting it right, at least this will be a good intro.
Depends on your time zone. Yeah, this might be the start of your birthday. We don't know.
Tis true. So this will be a good beginning to an epic weekend of birthday celebration to you, hopefully. So
Yes.
wishing you the best. Happy birthdays. But yeah. I'm excited to get into everything that was really announced and talked about this weekend.
Yeah, let's dive into it, man. We've got a whole lot of things. I got a whole list here. So because we are Dork Forces, we are a Star Wars podcast. We should probably start with the Star Wars news, right?
Yes.
So there was a panel in Hall H that was all Star Wars related. First up was Star Wars Outlaws. All right. The art of Star Wars Outlaws was announced along with well, in the presentation they gave us some cool concept art of the characters and development and things like that. Having been at the Ubisoft event a couple weeks ago in Irvine to play the game, everything that I've heard sounds like it was the same kind of panel as what I got to see. So I don't feel like I missed out too badly there because I got to know a lot of these things. But they talked about the development process of the game, what to expect from it. And then, yeah, the art of Star Wars Outlaws was also announced. And that's a big deal to me because having played the game for a couple hours, like the visual design, like there's a lot there. So I'm definitely picking this up. Definitely picking this up as soon as I can. Yeah, I love the art of books in Star Wars. Like we need
That's
more.
true. They're always so fucking cool. Everything from the cross sections to even like they weren't like the eyewitness books, but I forget who it was that made like the Star Wars like episode like movie breakdown books.
Like the visual dictionaries?
Yeah, dude. Like those are really
they were DK. Wasn't it DK books?
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember, but I had those and I
they would have like the character breakdowns and they'd have all the little pinpoint lines that said like this part of the utility belt is blah blah blah. And
exactly. That's where all the memes come from, like Dooku's like signature look of superiority, you know? Like that's totally from the visual.
What up, Ronin Unchained? I see you, sir. Hello.
What up, Mang? Ronin Unchained was our man on the ground. He was at SDCC and he filled me in on a lot of the goings on in Hall H. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about, he's our source. So you've been revealed. You've been unmasked, I think is the industry term. What up, Machad Merle? How you doing, man? art of books are amazing. We need a new Incredible Cross Sections book, though. Honestly, now that you've brought that up,
So we've had a lot of really cool ships ever since
we
Book.
got a prequels one. I don't think we've had one since the prequels.
No, that ever since Book of Boba Fett, where they gave us an absolute, or maybe it was Mando season 3. But the moment that we got to see that brand new, like, just interlookings of how the orbital system changes inside fucking the formerly known as Slave One,
Right.
like, yeah,
Boba Fett's starship.
we deserve, like, yeah, and then plus also with both the Razor Crest and the new N1 fighter, like, yeah, we
The
totally
rat
deserve,
rod, as I call it.
right? Like, we totally deserve, or even all of Mando's weaponry to begin with.
There's
We
dude,
totally,
so many things deserve, and also like think about buildings too, because sometimes they would have like there was a cross section of the Senate Tower, and there was one of like
the Jedi
Palpatine's
Temple. That's right.
quarters on the the Jedi
That's right.
Temple, the Death Star. Like
Like
you could even
Dex,
do an incredible cross sections of like do the Jedi Temple again in the Acolyte times, and show us how it's changed. Like that would be absolutely fascinating. Did we see the new Star Wars book trilogy that was announced today? Love the channel. Well, thank you for saying so, man. Yeah, I saw that news. Did you hear about that, Bendu?
I saw different book covers. I didn't necessarily. Okay, so this one. Okay, yeah, I didn't
Reign of the
realize
Empire.
what necessarily was a trilogy, because I did hear. I guess. Well, no, I guess I did hear about the prior Acolyte trilogy that Vernestra and what was Trinity's Jedi's name?
Master Indara. I don't know that that's
Indara.
a trilogy. Is that a trilogy? I thought that was a single
Is it a single? Okay,
novel.
so yeah, see,
Yeah.
even then, like, I just got to see like the different works in progress for like the book covers, but I wasn't sure.
Sure. That's pretty much all the information there is like these temporary covers and stuff.
Yeah.
But so this is a trilogy of books coming out. It's called Star Wars Reign of the Empire, right?
About Mothma.
Well, it's set between 3 and 4. The first novel right here is titled The Mask of Fear. It's coming out February 25th, 2025. It's written by Alexander Freed, which is badass because he wrote Alphabet Squadron, Battlefront Twilight Company, the Agent class story in Star Wars The Old Republic. If you are so inclined, love that dude's writing. And so it's going to be good. And yes, it's going to follow established characters like Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, Saw Gerrera, and it's going to introduce some new original characters too that I would bet will be then referenced in live action in things like Andor season 2, the Mando timeline, but yeah, it's going to be a trilogy coming soon with that first book, Mask of Fear, dropping in February, and I can't wait. Personally, I think it's going to be pretty good. I enjoy this time period pretty much the most. But yeah, like you're saying, we're also getting a bunch of book announcements on the publishing side. Like first of all,
them. Yeah, that was the other Acolyte book series that I knew was going to happen for the young adults.
Yes, Tessa Gratton is writing a young adult novel starring Jecki and Yord. That's pretty much all we know about it, but that's enough for me. The Yord Horde is back, baby. We were gone for a second. Like they had us for a minute there. I'm not gonna lie. Like my neck was hurting just thinking about it. But like,
man, and Jecki Nation, bro.
Back. The Jecki Jam. No, I'm glad that the Yord Horde is going to get a little bit more, even if it is just a breadcrumb. I'm interested in what the setup is going to be and how it's going to be about these two characters, considering that they'll probably both be Padawans, or they'll both be younglings at the time. Maybe it'll be pre-Padawan days. They'll go on some like young adventure.
Then going to Ilium.
Because I mean the story, the narrative's got a hell of a shelf life. She dies very young, so the story has to take place like in a very, very short window. So I'm interested to know what this is going to be. But it's being written by Tessa Gratton. And then also we did get the announcement of Wayseeker. Justina Ireland is writing this.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yes, this is going to be the Vernestra and Master Indara team up, the classic mess around. And this is set 10 years, I believe, before the Acolyte.
I think that's the post I saw also. But
And
that one's going to
check that. It's 20 years before the Acolyte. Okay. 20 years before. So
that's why we fact check.
Exactly. It's important. It's important to double check sometimes. What else we got in here? Yeah, the Black Series was announced for Vernestra as well, and it's pretty sweet.
I'm a little disappointed that they didn't come with like the Saber didn't have like a slightly more sort of ribbony, whippy version. Like it is.
It's been done before. Like we know that action figures have done light whips. So like you're right. It's kind of a missed opportunity there.
Unless
But I mean,
season
if you go
two,
back
right?
and look at the
Unless
Wayseeker
season two.
cover art, like
Season 2, though, maybe.
her saber's very straight here in the cover art as well. I'm thinking
That's
maybe they don't want her to be like associated with the whip all the time. Like she fights with her saber as a saber, but she like sends it into whip mode sometimes. Like,
specific times,
but
specific moments.
I don't know. Considering that was like her one action sequence on screen, and we're trying to pull the show watching audience with this figure as well as people from the books. Like, it's weird that they wouldn't include the whip because that's like a strong association with her now. You know,
Balin Skull, you better not be lying to me, because if that is true,
they did.
that,
They did, and
I
he comes with a mini pip. I don't have a photo for it in my
that is
slideshow, but he comes
fucking
with a tiny
hilarious.
little pip.
Part of me would want to buy one just so I could like re-ink wash it and re-highlight it and just paint the shit out of it and make it look like even more Basil. Because like, don't get me wrong, Black Series definitely like has amazing quality figures, but it is very obvious, and like for better or worse. But again,
Factory
it is
paint is
very
always
obvious.
going to look like factory paint. At
They
the end
have
of the day.
what they have. I was gonna say they have tiers. Like they definitely have like their Walgreens, like bottom shelf, like Target layer tiers, and then they have like their more Bobacon collective, toy store sort of tier, and then they
Sure.
have like their 6-inch heavy
Like
detail,
high quality, yeah.
high quality figure, yeah, for like the
But
26.
even in the 6 inches, there's so much like variety in quality.
It's true.
There's some
There's
really
so
nice sculpts and some really lazy ones too.
Right, yeah, or at least like with some of the joints, some of
I'm
the
hoping
like
so.
knee joints can be like very loose, but at least with some of the again the higher tier ones, that at least again they have a little more higher quality. Like, dude, like the Target exclusive that came out with Kenobi finale with the fucked up Vader with Anakin's exposed face. Like,
Yes.
bro,
Oh,
I
that was a good scene.
scoured so many different Targets to try to find that bitch and still never found one. But
I
that
mean,
was
like, dude,
such
people
a
like
cool.
scalpers buy them by like the 20 count.
This is true.
It's
But like
messed
that
up,
thing
dude.
was so cool, and like the fact that they gave Vader like the cloth cape and the cloth sort of like side tabard and just like the exposed face, like it was just
It was
such a peak
I mean,
figure.
I wouldn't mind having one either, but I didn't even get out of bed fast enough. Like it was sold
For
out by the
the
time I
Target
got to
exclusive
Target, dude.
Vader. Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
Chad was bringing up a very good point. What if the book goes into Chimere, leaving Vernestra, and
That'd
shows
be
us what
dope.
happens there? I really hope it doesn't, because if it does, that decreases our chances of seeing it happen on screen. You know, Star Wars doesn't love repeating itself. Sometimes we see the same events play out multiple times, but usually they try to avoid that because they don't want to have to deal with a potential retcon or stepping on their own toes, like
That's
with
true.
Kanan the Last Padawan, like the Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston, like that sort of thing. So if they go into detail here, I will be disappointed to be like, well, then we're probably not going to get it on screen then. So I'd rather see that play out personally. But this
Or
would be
they'll
an
just
opportunity
mention,
for them to tell that story, for sure.
or they'll just mention it on screen, just to sort of like briefly glaze over and just sort of uh, what's it called? What's the word? Like confirm that it happens, but like
Right, yeah, just acknowledge it and then just like
yeah,
throw it away in some exposition. That could be a way to do it. I do like that Black Series figure though. Okay, also,
I really appreciate that they use fabric for a lot of like their robes and actual like movable things versus like some of the Batman figures and some of the Vader figures of the early 90s where it's just straight fucking solid wavy plastic, and you're just like,
yeah.
what do I do with this? I could stick it in boiling hot water and try to like remold it. But
I would always use hair dryers.
yeah,
I'd
that's
use a
good.
hair dryer to heat it up, and then I'd try and bend it back. Mixed results.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of success with that. So this is also some good news for those of us reading the comics. Phase 3 of the High Republic is going to have one more run by Coven Scott, and it's going to include Kel Naka from the Acolyte, dropping in February of 25.
Dope.
There's Kel Naka in the back with his signature skullet next to Q.
Is that a Trandoshan?
That is a Trandoshan, yes.
Dude, Trandoshan Jedi with like the sort of sickle.
I'm going to embarrass myself
That's
here and say
pretty
it's probably
cool.
not Skier because I thought he died. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. There can be more than one Trandoshan Jedi in the High Republic. It doesn't have to be
That's really
Skier.
cool. It's like a
I could have sworn
Vader.
he died.
It's like a Empire Strikes Back slash Yoda looking like bottom hilt, sort of a hilt, but it has like that sickle finger guard thing.
Yeah, that
And then
kind of
like
gives it like a
the
saber, or like a rapier kind of
aquamarine.
feel almost.
Yeah, and then the off blue, off green, like turquoise saber color, like that's dope. That's dope. That's a
The
very
High
unique.
Republic comics are just visually really gorgeous.
That's a
They
very
really, they really are good looking, and it's cool seeing Jedi at their height. You know, before the real start of the fall, because the Acolyte is the tail end of the High Republic, right? So like,
uh,
we're seeing the corruption already beginning. We're seeing the transition happen into the old Republic Jedi that we know from the prequels. But during the comics, we're like 100 years before that, so it's like properly the height of the
yeah,
era.
that was something that was extremely interesting. The more I thought about it, when it came to the Alkalite and its period of time, of how because of what we've seen visually of the High Republic, those hilts are very elven. They're very gaudy. They're very pretty. But like every hilt that we saw in the Acolyte, like kind of was broken down into its base form of like what makes a saber a saber. Like we're no longer
Right.
looking at vanity. We're just purely going for function, sort of a
So
thing.
in the story, after the fall of the Starlight Beacon, there is a concerted shift from that artisan, very handcrafted feeling to these mass-produced combat-ready sabers, because they're like, okay, we're in a new time. There's constant threats. We have to just like buckle down and like constantly be ready for action. And so like that's why that visual change happens. And like the Acolyte is reflecting that. Like they're still kind of fancy, but very utilitarian.
Because it is
Versus
after the hyperspace, whatever they called it.
the hyperspace disaster is like the very start
Disaster.
of the era. And then the fall of the Starlight Beacon is really when like everything gets super grim, and like it becomes a lot more no frills, and like it's time for action versus like make things look pretty and nice because we have time on our hands. You
Because
know?
we have
Galaxy at
yeah,
peace, you know.
that's very
Not
that's
not
such an
anymore.
that's such an elven thought.
No, legit. The High Republic Jedi are kind of like space elves in the beginning, but then it slowly, you know, the shine wears off as things get worse in the galaxy.
Which is true.
What else we got here? But yeah, there's one more arc coming for this, and it looks like it's gonna be badass. And I'm happy to get more Kelnaka action. We're also getting Acolyte visual guide and art of the Acolyte, both
That'll
without
be
covers
cool.
yet. But like,
Speaking of hilts, yeah.
yeah, no, my coffee table yearns for an Acolyte book. Like the art book is going to be phenomenal because I loved the production design in that show. I really
Dude, yeah, the helmet design, the ship design, absolutely. Even Kelnaka, just like there was so much concept art that went into him. Like it was beautiful. And
we'll
then,
be getting
again,
these
like you
just
said,
about a year from now. It's going to be July of 2025.
it's-
Long time to wait, but you know what? Whatever. It's long enough to forget that these are coming out, and then I can be pleasantly surprised when they drop. It'll be lovely.
yeah, no, Barnes and Noble always appreciates seeing people come in and like actually like wanting physical. You know what? It's the fact that you get the guarantee and like the benefit of just getting the book you want right then and there versus
Yeah.
like I could just Amazon Prime this, but I still have to fucking wait. But it's
There's
like, no, you
there's
can
such
still
an
go to a bookstore
experience
and like
like
get
that gets lost about like going to the bookstore
yeah.
and like browsing the books and buying the book and carrying it home. Like that's part of the experience for me of reading something, is like picking it out among all the other titles. And I don't like doing that online because it just feels very like cold and like detached. And I don't know. There's something very tactile about bookstores, and like the whole, it's like a sensory experience. It's more than just
Right?
grabbing a book. It's a whole like, especially if you have a local bookstore that you really like and you know the people that work there. You know, it's like a social thing now as well.
And then you feel like a sense of
Easily.
internal supremacy when you get a hardcover book versus a soft cover.
Oh god, it's such a flex. Sticking it on your shelf and the whole thing just thunk, like the whole thing just shakes a little bit. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, it's an
Yeah,
expensive
yeah,
hardcover, baby. Throw that on there. Flexing on yourself. Yeah, I do that. So we talked about the Star Wars panel. We talked about the new trilogy of Star Wars books that are coming out. Can't wait for that.
yes.
Just briefly, before we talk about Marvel stuff, there's also Alien Romulus had a crazy panel in Hall H. And first of all, barely containing my jealousy here, everyone in the damn hall got their own face hugger. Every single person.
Wild. Fucking latex free, not a plushie, like an actual fucking
It is yeah,
silicone.
like
Yeah, disgusting,
I don't know how
disgusting.
I feel about it. I'm like so torn because on the one hand, like I can't stand face huggers. Like I can't even look at them. Like, oh god. Getting
Dude,
through the alien movies has been rough. But also it's like there's so much FOMO that like I don't even want to look at it, but I want to have one. Like I need
Chadmiral Thrawn, you are correct. They also got
they
free.
also everyone got free IMAX tickets to go see it too, which
Yeah.
is a baller move. Very classy of them. I'm sure everyone in Hall H was so stoked about this. Yeah, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I would love one of those.
Yeah, Hall H definitely seemed to
I guess that's the place
seemed
to
to be
be.
like the
Like shit.
biggest place the entire weekend because that's where all the huge announcements seemed or confirmations seemed to be. That's where a lot of the
I'm
celebrities
sure it's just their
were.
biggest like panel space.
Probably
It's like
actually,
the
yeah.
largest seating room
That
that
would
they
make the most
have is
sense.
Hall H. That's what the H stands for is hella big.
That's true.
So.
But yeah, no. So like going into
Can you
Alien
imagine being
Romulus because
arachnophobic and being trapped in the middle of that panel though, when like face huggers just start getting distributed and there's nowhere you can run? Like,
it's
God, that
true.
must have been at least one person's experience there.
So like something that's really great and cool about this movie though, and the trailer really kind of touched base on. I really appreciate that this movie is really going back to the practical effects aspect of movie making and movie
100%
monsters. Like it's definitely a person in a suit and a puppet, like ninety
practical
percent
all the way.
of this movie, which
Yeah,
is
they got
like
like remote control face huggers that are really chasing them down the hallways. Like they've got even that level of practicality. Like
yeah.
it's wild.
Because I was able to see Long Legs this past weekend, and
Ooh, don't tell me anything, but is it good? Because I'm looking
it is
forward to
pretty
seeing that.
good. It's
Yeah,
it's
okay,
really good. Yeah, 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 yeah. But like
on my list.
I really love, and like I rewatched a couple of other movies, like The Thing, and the past Evil Dead, or like the original Evil Dead, and like a few other horror movies this past week, and just like yeah, again the practicality of just like good, real effects and like real things just drooling and moving around in front of you and like in front of the actors, just like
It makes your job a lot
it just
easier as
makes
an
so
actor, I'm
much
sure, when there's actually a terrifying thing in your face
yeah.
versus like a ping pong ball on a stick.
But it's so fucking cool. It's just so beautiful.
100% agreed.
Because like the last few movies have been very CGI heavy between not Prometheus, but like Alien Covenant and like the one after that.
I mean, it's a whole period of our filmmaking history when like CGI hit the scene and like everyone embraced it immediately before it was necessarily ready to
Yeah.
do the things they were trying to make it do.
So I really love that we're emphasizing taking steps backwards and like making things
That's the point.
really look clean, really look good again. Because actually, fucking Star Wars has really been doing this a lot recently as well. Of just really taking their time, taking a step back, making their creatures actual little puppets. Using live
Yes.
CGI for their makeup and for their aliens versus just
It's so
yeah,
important to not forget like stylistically like where you come from, especially where the show like a franchise that has run as long as Star Wars has since 1977. Like yeah, I feel like it's easy to like evolve into something that doesn't even resemble where you came from anymore over that amount of time. Like that's so it's staying grounded and like staying with practical effects, making sure there's puppetry. Like they're still using motion control rigs for like model spaceships, like for the Razor Crest. Like I love that.
yeah,
That's what keeps me coming back is that there are enough things for me that feel rooted in the old world to where it's not like this isn't a completely new Star Wars. Like there's enough of it that I can recognize and like the nostalgia is still there. Like it still hits me in the childhood in the right way. And I feel like if they moved away from doing practical stuff and everything was like a green screen and like the volume nonstop and all CGI creatures, they'd lose me eventually because it wouldn't feel like Star Wars the same way anymore. Like
yeah.
that's to me what feeling like Star Wars
It'd be
really
like
is.
watching Dinotopia or something, where it's just
Right,
like
right.
everything just has a weird shimmer to it, and we're like, all right, this is cool.
Everyone has their own unique idea of what Star Wars means, and everyone's idea is valid because it's your own personal connection to it. But for me, Star Wars really means like goofy rubber-headed aliens and 1970s production values, and like things are kind of campy and kind of goofy, and like The control panel over there has a red triangle and 2 blue squares, and you can do like 17 functions with that. Like, sure, whatever. You know, it's all very 1970s.
Fucking wild. Yeah.
And like, we can't lose that. We can't get too hard sci-fi with it because at the end of the day, it's space wizards with laser swords, you know. So that's for me what Star Wars means is like you gotta keep it rooted in where it came from and not try to get too lofty with it all the time. You can get heady with Star Wars, but like, you know, got to be at least one goofy thing as well.
Right? Yeah, it has to be. There's always something that needs to like kind of remind you where you are.
Yes. Last Jedi Yoda is probably the best looking Yoda they ever did. And it's true you're able to hide a lot of the potential imperfections in the blue glow because he's a Force ghost, you know, that kind of masks a lot. But being like a CGI enhanced physical puppet is because, like, I guess that's the answer to the debate, right? Everyone's always like CG versus practical. It's like, well, the proper answer is both. Both things working together is how you achieve the best possible result. And that's always going to be the case.
Blend the lines.
But it's not 50-50. I would say it's 70 practical, 30 CG, you know? It needs to really physically occupy the space. So, Alien Romulus. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, speaking of space elves, we are 1 month away from the amazing season 2 of Rings of Power.
Ooh, which also that's right, we are.
Which had also an amazing, really cool sort of like background set at Comic-Con for people to take pictures.
Yes. I don't have any photos of that to share, unfortunately, but the cast was hanging out. There were props on display. I know you could see the rings on display, which is pretty exciting. And they dropped a 3-minute trailer, like this epic trailer for season 2, which you have not watched, correct?
I've seen bits and pieces of it through Instagram, and it's like
okay, you've seen things that people are talking about, kind of thing. Well, let's watch the trailer. Let's react to it so you can see it in its glory. I'm happy to rewatch this.
Hopefully, even though it's 3 minutes, hopefully we won't get pulled. But
oh my god, right?
I'm really excited.
I should hope not, because I posted a reaction video to this on YouTube, and I feel like that would have encountered trouble
because it was.
But we are definitely on a shit list somewhere, so who knows?
3 for the Elven Lords, 7 for the Dwarven Kings,
yes,
and then 9 for
9. The 9,
bro.
I always kind of giggle a little bit when they talk about 7 for the Dwarf Lords because it's just so Snow White coded. You know, why does it have to be 7 dwarves? All right, let's do it. Rings of Power season 2, San Diego Comic-Con trailer. Let's go.
Fucking Tom Bombadil, let's go, motherfucker.
Sauron sees himself as master of all Middle-earth. He seeks to rule.
Look at that fucking crown, dude.
But by bending the minds of all its peoples to his own.
God, dude. Sam Hazeldine is our new Adar.
Oh. And for that,
look at that painting.
No.
But rings.
See that? That?
In choosing to wear those rings, you have all become his collaborators.
This is the start.
I know you believe
the start of
deceiving me.
Paranoid Elrond.
But I believe it is guiding me.
God, the orcs look so good, dude.
Design. These rings may be how he attains power. They must be destroyed.
We will
so I guess the red one.
Once you have answered the question.
Eventually, Gandalf will have the red.
Who is
Elven
this
ring.
man?
Gil-galad is pissed.
He is no man.
Oh,
dude, he's so glitchy. Like, oh god.
He is Sauron.
What am I to call you? A sharer of gifts.
Anatar.
Like,
Thou work
bro,
begins
like,
thou.
that's obviously evil. Anyone who
Look at that
shows
jump,
up
yeah.
with flare of flames.
I have walked across mountains and deserts
Ooh, Rune. We're going to Rune.
to help my friend find his destiny. One the fate of the world may depend on.
These fucking guys.
Is it my task to stop the fire? Is it my task to face Sauron? To try and cheat death? might lead to an even greater
Let's
catastrophe.
go.
Father, take off the ring.
The breaking of the bridge.
I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped.
Every soul in Middle-earth is in peril. Will you abandon them to their doom?
What Bombadil.
No, what have you done to me?
Kind of rich hearing Bombadil talk about it, abandoning people to their doom.
Leave Sauron to me.
Fully abandon the Hobbit. Like, I'm not helping.
Oh, what do you mean leave Sauron to me? That must be a flashback.
He
That
will
must
not
be a
stop until
flashback.
he's destroyed.
Oh, the Siege of Eregian's coming.
Takes an age.
And wife!
I need your axe, old friend.
Fight with me.
Damn it, Shelob, why are you here?
When the darkness
I love the idea that
falls,
the Endwise, the females
there
have
are
like
always
blossoms.
some who rise forth.
The wars, bro. The wars are coming.
Oh god, this is an
Dark.
epic trailer.
You will give me the night.
Yes!
Creatures.
Oh, do you see those orcs?
Fuck, dude. It's so fucking epic. It's so
Can't
fucking
wait, dude.
cool.
I
Like,
can't wait.
such a fucking nerd. Like, it's such the coolest fucking shit. Like,
That
God
cavalry charge, just one more time. That
Yeah,
glorious row of orcs. Like, look
Like,
at this.
all of them.
Look at this. Look at them.
dude, all those orcs, like, one of them was just doing this.
He's
He
like,
was
come on,
literally
bring it
just
on, man, bring it on.
just like fucking bring it.
There's
Like,
one dude in the back who's like
goblin.
doing the Tuscan Raider. Like,
You fucking goblin. That's wild.
I don't know if you guys have ever done this at home, but like, go watch a 4K cut of Lord of the Rings. Two Towers is great. Return of the King is great, and just pay attention to the crowd shots of orcs, because the orcs do the most ridiculous things in these crowd. Like, it's so good. It's so funny. Shout out to everyone who played an orc in the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's trilogy, because like there's some hilarious things that go on in the background, and there's like 75 people in frame, so you don't know where to look. But like, if you can find them, there's some redonkulous things going on. I love it.
God,
Yeah.
that makeup. Oh, God,
It's
that's
dude, it looks so good. It
so
looks, yeah,
fucking good.
meat is back on the menu, boys, 100%. And yeah, that's kind of what I meant by like Bombadil abandoned them. Is that like he could have just taken the ring and just like done whatever with it himself. He could have resisted Sauron's influence. But you know, there's a parable in there of why he didn't get involved. But
Yeah. He was a Switzerland metaphor.
I love watching like during the scourging of Isengard, like when the waters, the river Isen washes away all the orcs and stuff. I always try and like keep my eye on one specific orc and see where he ends up, like when the platforms collapse and stuff.
I think I know which one you're talking about. I just always think of the one that's like standing on the platform, and then you see the platform like go.
And he tries to like run across the beam and he almost makes it, and then
Yeah.
the whole thing, like, yeah, dude, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Like, ooh,
They developed a whole like a whole new technology to do those massive shots called the massive engine. And it was the whole point of the technology is that you can render like thousands of people on a battlefield and they're not all doing the exact same movement. It like randomizes movements and stuff, so it looks like an actual organic crowd.
that's so cool.
Yeah, that they developed that for, I think it was the Battle of Helm's Deep was when they first created it. I remember learning about that on the extended edition on the appendices.
Yeah, depending on what day of the week that the show comes out, because I don't remember what it was for season 1, but
I don't remember either, actually.
Oh,
It's been
God,
so
look at
long.
Dork.
So much has happened. But
Bad.
yeah, so Joseph Maul's out and Sam Hazeldine is in. And you know what?
He looks so good.
I wish him luck.
I wonder.
He's
I
got
wonder
big
if
shoes
it
to
was,
fill, dude. Adar was like the best character. He was the most compelling part of the whole thing. Oh my God, there's another delicious orc.
And he was just
Look at that.
Amazon
Oh
made.
my God. He looks so good. And he knows how good he looks. Look at him bragging about it with his little teeth.
God, he looks as good as the angel from Midnight Mass. It's just like,
Have you started rewatching it yet?
I did rewatch it. My partner
Nice.
and I finished it last night in our rewatch, and just like
You finished
the-
it already. Damn,
monologue.
you nailed that
So
show.
it's only 7 episodes, but
True.
like
True.
one, goddamn, Bev is such a horrible fucking person. Like, Bev, fucking hate that bitch every fucking episode. Every time she opens her mouth, you're just like, guys, shut the fuck up, Bev.
She's such a good actress, though. She's such a good actress.
Bro, yeah, no, everyone acted the shit out of that role. Like, yeah, Blind Manor made you cry. Like, Hill House definitely had like the best jump scares and like kind of ghosts, I think. But there was something about Midnight Mass that just like Annie Green's monologue during the, like, when she, you know, at the final episodes, not to really spoil anything, but when she talks about like what it means to die to her, like as something is happening, it's like, dude, like that fucking monologue, like, god damn it, Mike Flanagan. Like, I don't know.
The analogy of
I don't know
the
if
being
he
clipped
wrote
coming
that.
full circle was like really just like heartbreaking.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. Ugh, Mike Flanagan, damn you. Just get me in my feels just like remembering that show. And I watched it a long time ago.
Like the family reveal of like who the parentage of the doctor was, and you found out, like, bro, like, it's so rough. It's such a rough show. And it's only 7 episodes, and you're just like, damn, man, y'all deserve to have your shit burned down. But like, you dumb motherfuckers.
Best possible answer for the like, couldn't have happened better.
It was oh god.
So let's keep going because we still have quite a lot to talk about here.
Yes. So Rings of Power, fucking phenomenal. That comes
can't
out
wait
later,
for that. Can't wait for that.
the end
I'm
of
going to be
this
reacting to it also.
for the Grizzled Wizard. Yeah, depending on what day of the week it is, I might have to hop on and like do that with you because season
dude,
1 was so
yes,
fucking
yes.
cool.
Let
Like,
me know. Let me know if you're able
Jesus.
to because I can't wait. So the Marvel panel also happened, right? And I don't have a bunch of pictures for the Marvel one, unfortunately. But Captain America, Brave New World, that's the name of the new upcoming one, right?
with Sam Wilson with Harrison Ford as the president, and also Red Hulk. So it was like, this was one of the first times having Harrison Ford actually showing up to a fucking comic convention. Like, first off, and
he was still very Harrison Ford about it.
Like, but like, it was
and he's like, I'm not answering that stupid.
It was wild. I think his answer, because someone asked him, like, you know, what was it that Feige, you know, how did Feige convince you to join the MCU? And like, I think he said something simple, like he just saw all the actors and he saw like really, you know, high-ranking actors that he worked with before. Like, he all saw them working with Marvel, having a lot of fun. He's like, I felt like having fun, so I threw my hat out there. And Feige was like, yeah, I done. Already have an idea. And so, like, yeah, no, it's
good for him. I'm glad he's enjoying himself. Harrison Ford really seems to enjoy himself in all of his movies except Star Wars. That's like the one thing I'm going to talk about.
Like, I guess it really depends on how you go about, because it's really, if you come at him with a nerd question, he's automatically just going to be like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, I totally get it because he spent his whole career having to talk to Star Wars fans. Yeah. And like being pestered with like the most nerd stuff, and like, I get it. But like, if you ask him about Indiana Jones, like his eyes light up, like a whole different reaction, completely different reaction.
Yeah. I also find it hilarious that this will be, I think, the second time that he's played a potential president of the United States or the president of the United States, because he was actually my first rated R movie.
Air Force One?
Air Force One, bro.
Hell yeah.
That was
hell
my
yeah.
first
I love that
rated R movie as a kid. And he was the president of the United fucking States, man.
My first R-rated movie was Mars Attacks by Tim Burton.
Was that shit rated R?
Oh fuck yeah, it was rated R, dude. There's so many boobs, there's so much swearing, and like,
that's true. That's
definitely
fair.
definitely rated R. However, I tricked my dad into renting it because like the aliens are somewhat cartoonish looking on the cover. So I was like, oh, it's a kids movie. Like, don't worry about it. And then we watched it as a whole family, and that was an experience.
Wild. That's wild. And then you get both Jack Nicholson characters, and you're just like, how is he both the president and this fucking Vegas philanthropist? Like, what is happening? And then fucking Pierce Brosnan shows up out of all places, and like they chop his head off, and like,
hey man, he gets
as that Chihuahua. that was wild.
It is a great flick. I love Mars Attacks, honestly. I watched it probably too young, and that's why I am the way I am today.
Right?
There you
Same.
go.
Interview with the Vampire was my second rated R movie. But
Nice.
yeah, so
Nice.
the panel and cast for the Captain America movie was there. They talked about how much fun they were going to have. And then the Thunderbolts cast with Florence Pugh and all the people were showing up
Oh,
there.
apparently there's one other thing about the Brave New World before we move on, is that they also were shown an exclusive trailer in Hall H, in which the Eternals, the Celestials from Eternals, are acknowledged on screen for the first time since Eternals. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
because
no, because they kind
no
of like,
one has referenced it at all, and
it's true.
But
It's kind
apparently,
of unfortunate.
that Harrison Ford himself, President Ross, acknowledges the Celestial from Eternals and how the world needs to unite together to collect a new element, adamantium. And then apparently they got to see him hulking out and turning into Red Hulk. Like they saw that already in Hall H. So good for them.
Interesting.
But
And
then, yes,
I'm
Thunderbolts.
not sure who. I'm not sure what specific character y'all are talking about when it comes to Captain America. Or talking. Yeah, not sure on that one. The dead one. Not sure on. Again, some of these references are.
Oh no!
Lost her with my grandma.
Oh man!
Wow.
Have you seen
Excellent.
Silent Party?
Excellent.
Not for kids.
Oh yeah, Terabebe having Esposito play Sidewinder, pretty dope. Yeah, I mean, like it is a little. If I ever meet
Sidewinder.
him,
So I don't know a whole lot. Who is Sidewinder?
He's just kind of like a mercenary, essentially.
Okay,
He's
okay.
just kind of
That's,
like
I got that from the trailer. Okay.
anti just Politioso sort of deal. But like,
like
if I
that.
ever meet Esposito at a Comic-Con, I definitely would want to ask him, like, not to say that you're getting typecasted, but what kind of character, if you had the chance, would you want to play? Because you play a lot of like super smart, just very cold-faced killers and very intelligent people, but like outside of that, what would you want to do?
Would you want to play like a friendly dumb idiot?
Yeah.
Some really nice laid back dude with like a low IQ. It's like the opposite of everything he plays.
Right? Or I could see him being like in the next Tron movie, him just being like some ultimate god tier program. Like, you know,
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Some tree spirit in like a Guillermo del Toro movie or something.
Now, see, I see him in Tron as the dude with glasses and a sweater vest who like programmed the whole thing, and his hair's all messy, and he's like the brilliant programmer guy, you know?
Yes.
Or he could be in a slick suit, glowing a little bit, being the program. Like he could play either. Like I could see him doing either. He's got a lot of versatility.
Right? Exactly. You'd be fucking Morpheus if you wanted to.
So
See,
Thunderbolts.
Like,
sorry, go for it.
I was saying, even that, like him being Morpheus, and like if there was another Matrix,
He'd be fantastic. But also, imagine him as Agent Smith.
yeah. Oh, but again, like that kind of falls under the same fucking.
But the thing is, if you're really good at something, you should keep doing it. Like we know he would rock Agent Smith, but he would probably rock Morpheus too. Like the point stands, absolutely.
Oh man, Giancarlo is Two-Face. That would be.
Ooh, I could dig it. I mean, he kind of did play Two-Face for about 30 seconds in that one episode of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, boxing.
So brief role.
Going back to Marvel though, so like there was a lot of Fantastic Four stuff that was.
Let's do Thunderbolts first. Let's do it in the order.
Presented. Like the cast also was kind of more. I think people got to meet who the cast was more specifically. But again, it seems that Doctor Doom is going to be the villain of an Avengers movie, but not a Fantastic Four movie. So.
Oh, interesting. I thought Doom was supposed to be in the Fantastic Four movie.
That's what I thought, but it doesn't seem that seems to be the way that they're going with it. So, yeah.
Can you explain the Robert Downey Jr. news in Star Wars terms? Man, I need someone to explain it to me in Star Wars terms because I don't know that I understand exactly what's going on. I know that Robert Downey Jr. was announced as the actor who is playing Victor Von Doom in the MCU.
Yeah.
Making it his second MCU role because he is, of course, Iron Man, right? So are we saying that Victor Von Doom just happens to look a whole lot like Tony Stark? Or is this actually a Tony Stark like variant who's become Victor Von Doom? Like, it's fine. Like it doesn't bother me, but I do want an explanation. Like, what's the in universe why these two look the same? Are they going to do like an Ocean's 11 thing where what's her face just like looks like Julia Roberts because she is?
I think that might be. I think that might be the route they're going for. Either way, I'm not really thrilled about it.
I mean,
Because
we've got all this variant stuff. Like, it's true. Like now that
Yeah.
TVA and everything, anyone could be a variant.
but it's like I don't know. Either way, it doesn't. I'm not particularly thrilled about it because
So you don't okay. So you don't love the idea of him playing Doom.
it's removing. If it ends up just being a Tony Stark variant, they're absolutely removing they're removing representation of a Romani character. And
Yes,
they're
yes, I was
completely
gonna bring that
removing.
up.
Similarly with Scarlet Witch, and like they kind of made her Sokovian, but like they quickly and like a lot of the periods of time, like Elizabeth Olsen didn't use like a Sokovian accent as her entire time.
They
as well,
Americanized her fast.
very quickly. Yeah.
Pretty much after the
So-
first movie that we see. her.
Who was also supposed to be like kind of a Romani character. So like there is a lot of potential whitewashing that the internet is really worried about, which granted, like rightfully so.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is not Romani, so
No,
I think that's
and
about
if
right.
it ends
So
up
automatically that's a valid criticism, you know.
and neither is Tony Stark. Like if they wanted to
Right.
do Doom as like, what if Tony Stark was evil? Like that character already exists, and there's also Ultron. Like they could have just done,
It's so wild to me that they couldn't just recast Kang.
yeah,
The easiest, most recastable character. He's a person who with unlimited variants who can look like anybody.
yeah.
And like they just had to double down with that one crowd shot in Ant-Man of all the dude, and it's the same actor, like definitively telling us that only this actor is this character's variant. Like if they hadn't done that, they could have anybody continue Kang's story, just like Kang looks like this now. That's so explainable because of who Kang is. And instead, they just like they shelved the whole thing.
So I'm not. I'm thrilled for other stuff about Marvel. Like I'm curious to see like how everything ends up being written out and played out. Because I did also get to see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, you watched it. You watched
Weekend?
the movie. Nice.
So spoiler-free review. It was quite hilarious. It was
Okay.
exactly what you would expect from a Deadpool movie. It was a great homage still to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But again, like it goes into multiverse shenanigans, and it's like with
Right.
the ending of Logan, like it was supposed to be like, oh, this is Wolverine's final thing. But like in every comic book, you can only stay dead for so long, or
There's no such thing as final in comic
a
books.
character can
absolutely.
only stay dead for so long. So a lot of people were complaining, even
Especially
with
legacy.
Robert Downey Jr. now coming back as Doom, like, oh, this completely undoes the sacrifice that Tony Stark made. And it's like,
welcome to comic
no,
book.
it doesn't. Exactly. It's like one, no, it
People
doesn't.
come
Like,
back.
that character still died in that way, doing that thing. That
Right.
actor still disappeared, took a long break, doing that thing.
Yeah, I mean,
And also,
this is-
welcome to comic books. Like this
this is part of it. It's as traditional as anything else. Is like the reappearance of characters that were long considered dead. You know, evil twins, clone bodies, time travel, variants. Like
exactly.
there's no end to the different ways that we can shoehorn a person back into a story, simply because the writer wants that character there. You know, that's more important than how they got there. We're just gonna pluck them and put them in this little crossover issue because I feel like drawing Iron Man today. You know, like that was all the logic that there was in the beginning, and now we're just kind of like trying to flesh out a real set of movies, but they're using that same logic. You know, like, oh, it would be cool to have this character here. Doesn't matter that he's dead. We're just gonna find a way to make him undead for this, you know, or it's a variant of him, or this or that.
Which is exactly what Deadpool was. But it was such a good fucking self-contained thing. Like it was just this beautiful, very enjoyable 2 hours and 8 minutes of just
Good,
like
good.
hilarity. So
How much does
definitely
it rely on the previous Deadpools?
Hmm?
How much does it rely on having seen the previous Deadpool movies? Like if I, like me, for example, I haven't seen any of them. Could I watch this one and like
No,
how much
I would,
context would
you
I be
would
missing?
you would at least need to have seen the prior Deadpool with Cable.
Okay. Okay.
You would need to have had some prior understanding of like he fucked up with he did some shit with a time machine and like killed Ryan Reynolds and killed like other variants of himself.
Okay, got it. So you need to know a little bit about Deadpool for this. Okay, cool. Well, I got some work to do then.
Yeah.
I'm
But
digging
it's quite enjoyable.
good.
They did a great job with
That's
it.
what everyone's saying.
This universe. Because yeah, even again, like when New Mutants came out in like the early 2000 teens, came out around the same time that Deadpool 2 came out.
Right.
Beautiful little mutant story. Arya Stark was in it. She plays a little Irish girl who's like technically a werewolf.
Nice.
She gets kicked out of her parish because her priest is like burning her and beating her up and telling her she's a devil's child. So she ends up leaving and going to America because she can't handle it. But ends up getting locked into an insane asylum because, hey, she's a mutant and America hates mutants. But
Sounds like a familiar story.
bro, and then like the girl from Queen's Gambit plays Ilya Rasputin, who's this character Magic.
Oh, okay.
Eats that shit up. She eats it so good.
Okay.
So good.
I know
But
the
yeah,
actor
no,
you're talking about.
great.
I don't remember her name, but yeah, no, she's fantastic. Hell yes. So speaking of Fantastic Four, one other thing that was kind of noteworthy that happened at that panel in Hall H is the Fantastic Car. Did you hear about the Fantastic Car?
Yeah, that was quite. I want to know how they did it. I want to know if it's a balloon.
I think it's a drone. I think it's like an inflatable body drone of some kind.
Okay, dude. But speaking of the drones, they
Sweet, though.
knocked it out of the fucking park with their drone shows. They're above the venue drone shows. Like, they absolutely knocked it out. But this a credit card. I don't know. So this kind of makes me a little excited because
I like how retro-futurist it is.
it's
First of all.
absolutely retro-futuristic. So this makes me think that this particular Fantastic Four movie is going to take place somewhere else within the multiverse. This isn't going to take place in our normal, like, Earth 616.
I've heard that it's the 1960s, wherever it is. It could be 616, and it could be the 1960s on a different timeline. Like, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, because just like the way that the rest of the city looks in a lot of the pictures and everything, like, I don't know, with all of the different multiverses and places that we've seen.
Okay, it's a variant. It's a variant in the 1960s.
Yeah,
because you're right. It doesn't look quite
like look at those monorails.
farther.
Look at those like there and like it looks like Coruscant. The city.
No, for sure.
Straight up looks like Coruscant.
There's something a little bit different about it, for sure. But one thing that does actually, and like I don't usually get that hyped for Marvel projects, but like I enjoy them like enough. But I'm not usually like, oh my god, I can't wait. But something that's very exciting about this is that it's all like retro futurism inspired heavily by Sid Mead. And when you start name dropping Sid Mead, that definitely brings me to the table because he's one of the primary concept artists of Alien, of so many of my like most influential like science fiction and things from the 70s. Like, it's all I need to know. If this is inspired by the works of Sid Mead, then like I know that visually at least I'm going to really enjoy this movie. And yes, it's not Universe 616 confirmed, sounds like. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a drone. If you listen carefully, you can kind of hear the fans here. I'll turn it up.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, you can hear that whining. You can hear the fans for sure.
At least maybe 4 of them, maybe 3. 2 in the front, 1 in the back. But dude, the sky drone shows. They had like Galactus in the air. They had the entire Marvel Studios fanfare made with drones in the sky. It was fucking incredible.
That is badass.
We're able to make an entire like Wolverine and a Deadpool also in the air. Like,
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Fucking wild.
So the one thing left on our agenda to talk about is our first look at Skeleton Crew. We have some leaked images. So I'm going to throw this up right now. If you don't want to see leaks, now's your chance to abandon ship.
Aside from that dollar store poster that we saw last week.
Yes. Aside from that. Okay, so take a look at this.
Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 5 character minis at least.
This is the Star Wars Lego Skeleton Crew Onyx Cinder set.
It's our main ship. Okay.
I'm assuming that is the ship that we have seen already here in the concept art. This was the first image of Skeleton Crew that we actually got, besides, the one of Jude Law that everybody knows. But
God,
I'm pretty
there's
sure
something
that
there's
is
something
this
about
ship.
that picture. There's something about that picture and the way that the colors are just like emanating off the lights that just immediately reminds me of a lot of the ET art. That
I was about to say
Spielberg-
ET. That's exactly what it made me think of too.
It's such an ET spaceship sort of feel and look.
I've
to
heard
it.
there's a lot of Amblin vibes in this, and so ET would be a very appropriate comparison to make. Like, it sounds like the Goonies in space. I'm so down. I'm so down. But this Lego set, the Onyx Cinder.
Onyx Cinder. What a cool name too.
It is a cool name. And then this must be the main ship. But it's
Which
modular.
means-
It opens up. We've got a little living quarters inside.
Which means there's a 90% chance that this ship's going to get blown up. Saying it now.
I think it's going to be so much fun.
Like,
And don't you dare put that into the world.
at some point, these orphans are going to lose their home. I'm just saying it. Just saying it now.
Do we know that they're orphans, or do they just have strong orphan energy? Because
They
I
just
agree.
have strong
I agree.
orphan
They do.
energy.
They do.
Yeah. No, this is just Treasure Planet. Look at them.
Here we
Those are
go. Here we
children.
go.
Those are children. One of them's blind. I'm kidding. We don't know if one of them's blind.
I think she's a Mira Luca.
Probably.
If she's a Mira Luca, that would be pretty exciting because you don't get a lot of those in live action. 100% Space Goonies. That's exactly the energy that I'm getting from this. We've got an Ortolan, and this Ortolan has arms and legs, and that's going to piss off a very specific, very weird group of people. Let me tell you right now. in the original maquettes that they made for Max Rebo, he's playing the keyboard with his legs, and he does not even have arms, But then in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Ortolans are bipedal and they have arms. So it's weird because Max Rebo's canon, Old Republic is Legends, but we're going with a Legends body style for the Ortolans here. And my headcanon, like what I came up with a while ago for this, is that young, like juvenile Ortolans have arms, and they just like lose their arms when they become adults.
God, that's
They
horrible.
like shed them like a tadpole losing his tail. It's
That's
gross.
shitty.
And I don't like thinking about it, but I'm like that could explain it. I don't know.
That's such a downgrade. That's
Someone
such
needs to
a
bother.
deal-
Someone needs to bother Phil Tippett and Neil Scanlon with this one. They have the answers.
Maybe he's a mutant. I fucking dig it. He's a hybrid. It's fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe Max Rebo's the only one of it. Like he lost his arms in an accident.
Yeah.
Most Ortolans are.
That's
That would.
what
Okay. I could dig that too.
car accident.
Maybe it's a gender thing. Males
Like-
have no arms and females have arms because this is a female Ortolan. I'm pretty sure.
That would be cool. I guess in a weird biological sense, that would make sense.
Because I don't know why do aliens have to
It's true.
biologically resemble humans in any way? The differences could be like way more drastic than they are for humans. Like it was a terrible farming accident. You could say that the keys were a bit too sharp.
It's true. Yeah,
He tried to
mean,
do some
like-
sort of musical backflip, and his arms just stayed there, and they just like popped right out.
I mean, when it comes to goofy space aliens, I mean, I feel like the Men in Black franchise is really the only. I guess the Thing, the John Carpenter's The Thing, were the only
Yeah,
two
what about
that went full fucking weird tentacle goo.
Oh,
just,
true.
like, weird and
Alien too. You remember you've seen Prometheus, right?
yeah.
The big like proto face hugger, nasty boar gullet creature thing.
Oh, that's true. That's fair.
Like, that's definitely on that list. Like,
Proto face.
dude, I just watched that movie like 2 days ago, and I'm still.
That one was in which one? The second one? That was in the prison?
Prometheus.
Oh, in Prometheus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I brought that up. I'm the reason that I'm like freaking out now. I did that to myself.
Dude, the fact.
Why am
Okay.
I doing
The fact that the fuck, I forget what they called the originals, like the pilots. I guess they were just called pilots. No, that's Farscape.
Progenitors.
The engineers. The engineers.
The engineers. Thank you.
Dude, the fact that he just picked up the old man and just fucking just hit him in the chest or just fucking threw his old ass body. He's like, "Oh, you want to live for forever?" The fucking audacity! Like, get out of here!
He threw him away
Fucking,
like Kylo, like Matt, the radar technician, throwing his lightsaber. He's like, "Then you don't have to look at it anymore."
I don't have to look at it anymore.
That's the energy that he had when he threw that old man. It's kind of fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is honestly our first look at Skeleton Crew. Is this Lego set, as is tradition, right? That's always how we get our information about Star Wars.
Angry.
Dude, I remember being in the
Angry
computer
Lego.
lab in middle school in 2002, looking on the Hasbro website, and that's how I learned Jango Fett's name. That's how I learned all kinds of information, because like the action figures had all the info already in there, and you could look at the action figure and look at the accessories it was going to come with, and kind of like put together like, is the scene going to involve these two things? Because like sometimes action figure accessories are like totally random and have nothing to do with anything. But sometimes they can give you context to what's going to happen with that character. And so like that was how I would get my stuff, was like going on the Hasbro websites and learning all that information. And now here we are, fast forward like 20 something years, and we're doing the same thing with Lego sets, learning about the Skeleton Crew before it comes out. I love this Jude Law minifig, by the way.
He looks so
they gave him his little his widow's peak, and he's got some stubble.
They did. They absolutely gave him a fucking widow's peak, and I just like I love the look on his face of just like, shut up back there, fucking kids. Just shut up.
These are his two faces. He's got full on yell, and then like just like a frown. He doesn't have any smiling faces.
Oh yeah, he does have his other face in the other one. That's funny.
It's not a smile. He's just like,
you're gonna eat your food. You're gonna eat your gruel, and you're gonna like it.
Clean up your room, your space room, you kids.
Kids, yeah, he's absolutely like full babysitter.
I think this is the most important information that we've gleaned from this Lego set, is that Jude Law is not going to smile in this show, because they don't even give you a smiling option on his minifig. He goes from like angry to just kind of angry.
Kind of hilarious. Oh man,
totally. He's totally the Lego tech hair.
That's man.
Oh my god.
How dare you?
How dare you? It's still too soon, okay? It's too soon.
Hi, my name is Hunter. And my name is Tech.
Real
Not
Tech,
over it.
Tech was almost at a full Caesar. He was almost like he was bald. Dude was trying his hardest.
He was like 2 croutons away from a full Caesar.
Yeah, but like, you know what? His goggles were on too tight. It was.
So here he is.
Oh, yeah.
Here's our man, and look, he's wearing his little cloak, his little scarf that we see him on right there with the minifig as well.
He's running from the cops.
Oh, he's shady. He's a shady dude, and he is now he has children in his care. So can't wait to find out what that dynamic's going to be about.
Treasure planet.
But here you go. Here's that shot once again of the ship, and look, you can see the Ortolan, the short silhouette right there. So the Ortolan character was there from day one. Clearly, was like a big part of the plan, and I appreciate having alien mains, instead of just supporting cast.
Yeah,
we don't know yet that this Ortolan is the main, but they do have like top billing on the poster. This is the poster that was seen in the thrift store. We talked about this last week.
Plus, whatever that robot is.
I can't remember the last time we had an alien get top billing like front and center on a poster for Star Wars.
It'd be like Watto, Sebulba, maybe Jar Jar, purely for like promotion.
Did they ever get like central, like the prime real estate on a poster though?
Not central. It was definitely.
They're definitely like small in the lower third, kind of.
Or
Jar
like
Jar got kind of big, but
or like second tier, yeah.
Second tier, totally. I love the skulls in this one, dude. They look so good.
It's so random, but it's actually like the perfect little filler space. Just
It really brings like the Amblin vibes, like the Goonies and E.T. and yeah. They foreshadow the other 2 kid crew members that die in the first episode. It's quite sad.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea. I actually have
their parents.
It'd be really funny if, like, by the end of the show, he has no hair left because he keeps pulling it out.
That's great.
Stressed about the kids.
Dude, even Tarkin. Oh man, even Tarkin had more hair than Tech. What? No, yeah, no, Tarkin headboard. Yeah,
It is charging right now, but let me take a look at it and see if I can show it to you.
bro. That new, clean, shiny Episode 3 Anakin hilt. Damn. Yes, sirree, Bob.
All right. So this showed up just before I went live. Look at this thing. It is so shiny. This is the Damien Saber Xenopixel V3 Anakin lightsaber. I'm still charging it up so I can get some blade shots of it. But the cool thing about this is that it came with this ridiculous lightsaber carrying case, which has, let me see if I can open it and show you here. It has a blade slot along here. You can put a blade in there. And it has space for 3 hilts in these 3 sections. So you can like carry multiple lightsabers and like protect them in here. So when I go to Japan with the Katarn cosplay, like this is definitely how I'll be transporting my lightsaber. And it has combination locks on it too. Like it's pretty nice. Pretty damn nice. But yeah, that's the new saber. It just showed up. Was not expecting it to arrive, so it took me by surprise.
God damn.
It's metal. It's made of metal. Yeah, no, it's a steel. It's like a shiny steel. It's totally a Grievous case.
That'll be the sticker that actually
goes what's the Star Wars equivalent of a pelican? Like a porg? Is it a porg case? What's the creature? The creature that's like banging on the scrap metal on Jakku, like the metal vulture. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what its name was. I mean, when you came with pelican case and trying to like use it as a porg metaphor, that makes sense. That would work.
Trying to look it up right now. Someone in the chat is going to be quicker than me, I'm sure.
Woodsy,
no, I don't want vulture droids.
Be patient, young Woodsy. Be patient.
Hint, hint. Anyone that's got one, send it my way, please. Please.
We do have it. He does have a 3D printed one, of which
I do
personally painted. So
yes, and I'm very fond of that one because it was sent to me by a fan, and it's very special. He also printed out the Briar pistol. That's where I got my Briar pistol from as well. But yeah, that was our coverage of San Diego Comic-Con. We got a lot of big announcements, and Star Wars wise, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to, and we also got our first look at some Skeleton Crew merch through a Lego set, learning a little bit more about the ship. Dude, I'm so hyped for Rings of Power. I think that's going to be like taking over my personality starting next
for the end of summer. Fuck yeah.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready. The trailer has me so hyped up. Season 1 was disappointing for a lot of people, and I think that's because the pacing felt very lackluster. Well, you got to understand the entire season was set up, you know? And you might think that's ridiculous, but this is the Lord of the Rings we're talking about, where it takes 1,000,000 years to tell anything of any importance. Like, just think back to the conference, like the Entmoot, you know, and how long it took them to say everything. Like,
it's absolutely true.
Like the Lord of the Rings movies were totally criticized for being too long at the time that they were coming out. I remember that like a lot of the negative reviews were like, this movie doesn't need to be like, it could be an hour shorter, blah, blah,
and
blah.
And yet the extended edition then came out too, of which
like, it's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to make it an hour longer.
Yeah.
But like, there's a line that Treebeard says, and it's absolutely Peter Jackson directly addressing those critics when he says like if something's worth saying, it's worth taking a long time to say it, you know? And that is the epitome of all things related to the works of Tolkien. So it's taking a long time to say what Rings of Power is trying to say, but it's worth the wait. You know, we sat through an entire season of build up, stage setting, board laying, getting everything ready to go. And now shit's just going to pop off in a big way. And we're going to get like nonstop payoff for everything that we've been like building towards. And so I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. And yes, Lord of the Rings in autumn does go together perfectly because I want crunchy leaves on the ground so I can pretend I'm in Rivendell while I'm watching my Rings of Power. Yes, please. Absolutely correct.
Chamomile tea out on the balcony. Fucking yes.
No, it's gonna be fantastic. Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody. This has been the Dork Forces podcast, issue number 78. We recapped San Diego Comic-Con. We talked about the Rings of Power. We talked about Alien Romulus. We talked about Star Wars and Marvel and everything else going out there. Bendu, is there anything you want to add for the nice people watching at home?
You can always leave us a question or a comment on our other YouTube or podcast various posts. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram under our collective names. My own personal Instagram, I'll probably be posting a couple of more painting projects that just finished, such as X23, since Daphne Keane has had an amazing last couple projects between everyone hyping up Wolverine and Deadpool, which again, she got to play X23, which was a great role. Getting to see her as Jackie Knoll in The Acolyte she just blew everyone out of the water. So I'll be posting my X23 mini, my zombie Doctor Strange mini, and my Daredevil Matt Murdock mini. So if you like art, if you like painted miniatures, follow my Instagram.
Absolutely. Yes, and watch the painting streams, everybody, because they're actually really, really cool. Keep doing it, dude. Like you're good at this. I think people are gonna start coming to these things. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this about Bendu, he's a talented painter of minis too. Like, sorry, not to talk you up for a second.
I know, like I'm gonna.
He's really good. He's really good, and like people need to recognize that there's some skill here. And like honestly, I can learn to be a better painter from watching you do your streams, and that is something that I sorely need. So. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been the Dork Forces podcast. We are going to leave you with a public service announcement about the Hutts and whether or not they are gangsters. Good night.
The Trade Federation have no presence there.
How can you be sure?
It's controlled by the Hutts.
You can't take a Royal Highness there. The Hutts are gangsters. Gangsters.